Our planet has gone through 5 great periods of intense cold, times when ice blanketed vast stretches of Earth. These were the Ice Ages, glacial periods that lasted for thousands of years. The most recent Ice Age shaped the world we know today. Back then, early humans took shelter in caves, venturing out in small groups to hunt for survival. Around 20 to 25,000 years ago, one such group set out from Siberia, following the tracks of prey. Wandering through frozen landscapes, tangled bushes, and rugged rocks, they unknowingly stumbled onto something extraordinary. What they crossed was no ordinary trail. It was a land bridge, a narrow strip of frozen earth that connected two massive continents. During the Ice Age, so much water was locked away in glaciers that sea levels dropped dramatically. What was once ocean floor became a bridge, linking Asia to North America. Carrying the hopes and genes of the old world, these hunters stepped into a land no human had ever seen. A new world that would one day become their home. Then, around 11,000 years ago, the Ice Age ended. Glaciers melted. Oceans rose. That narrow land bridge, their passage into a new continent, vanished beneath the waves. Today, we call this place the Bering Strait, a stretch of water just 53 miles wide. Yet, for over 10,000 years, it would remain an uncrossed boundary between the old and new worlds. So what happened in this land, this America, while the rest of the world moved on? What was life like for the people who first called it home? Who would rediscover it? And how did one of its nations rise to become a global superpower? They're showing you the history of America, like the story of a lost land. Those who went to the New World were hunters. Over centuries, thousands of years, they spread across this vast, joyful piece of land. These people laid the foundations of great civilizations, establishing countless small and large settlements over time. Take a look at this map. This is a very old map of the New World, what we now call America. Where Mexico is today, there was once a great empire, the Aztec Empire, covering more than 200,000 square kilometers. This empire included about 500 regions, and nearly 6 million people lived there. Further south, near the Aztec Empire, was the stronghold of the Maya civilization, a civilization about 4,000 years old, known worldwide for its art and culture. After the Maya, another massive empire rose to power. In today's terms, this empire stretched from modern-day Florida to the regions of Chile and Argentina. Its population was around 12 million. Besides these, many smaller tribes lived across the region, including the West Indies, made up of different ethnic groups. From Chile to Brazil and beyond, smaller tribes lived as communities. They loved corn and grew it on a huge scale. The people of the New World numbered in the millions. At the same time, the Old World had about 50 million people, but both sides were completely unaware of each other. In fact, for them, the other world didn't even exist, not in stories, not on maps, not even in memory. Their connection had been severed 11,000 years earlier. Sure, there are stories that claim lost travelers from the Old World reached the New World from time to time. In Chinese records from the 3rd century, about 1,700 years ago, there is mention of a distant foreign land. They called it Fusang. It was written, "If you travel east across the great ocean and land on the shores of Fusang, then travel another 10,000 kilometers east, you'd reach another ocean, the blue, turbulent Atlantic." This could very well have been America. In 408 CE, a monk named Hui Shen set out from China with 4 companions. They spent 40 years in Fusang and later wrote about its people and traditions. 500 years later, Viking explorers from Europe reached America, establishing settlements in what is now Canada, specifically Newfoundland. Evidence of these settlements still exists today. Muslim explorers also claim that during the reign of Abdurrahman III in Spain, around the 10th century, they too reached America, building mosques and communities. Hindus make similar claims, pointing to rituals of Native Americans that resemble Hindu practices. But friends, whether these claims are true or false does not matter, because none of these journeys created a lasting connection between the old world and the new. That connection, the bridge between worlds, was not made by the Chinese, the Vikings, the Muslims, or the Hindus. For thousands of years, both worlds remained strangers. Europe believed the world ended at its shores. Native Americans believed there was nothing beyond their waters. This gap could have lasted thousands more years. But then, in the 15th century, something changed. A shift came in global power. The people of the Old World, especially Europeans, were forced out of their comfort zones. Desperate and hungry, they searched for new lands and new routes. And what caused this shift? The Muslim conquests. Until the 15th century, Europe had been weak. Once, the Roman Empire was the superpower of the world, ruling over much of Europe and Asia. But slowly, Rome collapsed. Only the Byzantine Empire remained, with Constantinople as its capital. Then, in 1453, everything changed. A young Turkish sultan, Mehmed the Conqueror, captured Constantinople. The Roman Empire was gone forever. Constantinople became Istanbul. With that, Europe's last great power fell, and along with it, Europe's lifeline. You see, Constantinople wasn't just a military stronghold. It was also the center of Europe's trade, its gateway to Asia. Silk, spices, gold, silver, precious stones all passed through this route. When the Turks closed it, Europe was devastated. The people became poor. Hunger spread across the land. Families abandoned children in garbage heaps. Farmers went bankrupt, forced into debt and slavery. Looting and robbery were so common that travelers walked with their eyes fixed on rooftops, afraid criminals would drop stones to kill them. This was Europe's destruction, the collapse brought by the fall of Constantinople. But spiritually, it was even worse. Christians saw their holy lands shrinking day by day under Muslim power. They feared Christianity itself might vanish. And so, both religious passion and economic desperation pushed Europe to act. They needed new routes, new lands, and new worlds, and that is how Europe began its journey towards becoming the world's superpower.